That's the one thing about St. Andrews. There's always something to talk about and find in common. So, good morning, class agents and class of 2023. Thanks for showing up on a Saturday morning. Here, the premise of our gathering is for better understanding of alumni engagement, but it's also a reminder of how special St. Andrews is. You've each and all already been showing up for St. Andrews and will continue to do so over the years to come. You all know our theme this year is showing up, right? You'll show up for reunions, yes, class of 2023, and see some of your faculty and return to the campus. But as the years go on and over the long haul, you'll be showing up for your classmates, for each other, and in different ways. I want to share something a member of the class of 1973, yes, 1973, who will have their 50th reunion this year, wrote to his classmates as they began to reflect on their upcoming 50th reunion. I'm teary-eyed happy when I think of how the class of 2023 will go out into the world and not remain silent about things that matter. In 2073, when they approach their 50th year anniversary of their graduation, they most certainly will have had a positive effect on the world. And they will be experiencing the rewarding and therapeutically uplifting feeling that comes with having stayed engaged with each other for 50 years. For reasons none of us can fully articulate, but we all feel, we genuinely are here for each other, not just in offering comfort during bad times, but in sharing some laughs and in trying to make sense of things and make an impact in our professions and our communities. I think we all share a comfort among us that is unique, maybe because we all get each other and can talk with that foundation. That's a tribute to the lasting bonds from St. Andrews. That's showing up for St. Andrews. So without further ado, we welcome you, we celebrate you, and we thank you. I'll turn this over to Ms. McGrath.
Thank you, Tessa. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I have a new goal now. It's a little bit mind-boggling that your 50th reunion is going to be in 2073. But if I live to see it, I will be 99 years old. And I hope I will live to see it, and I hope I will be there with you on your 50th reunion so that I can remind you from my dim memory what you were like. I actually think I might live to be 99 for that, opportunity. That would be so great. And we will get out your yearbook and remember everything that happened. So welcome everybody. Seniors, I'm really glad you're here. I'm so grateful to the class agents who are here. Allison, I'm so excited to hear the words you're going to share with us a little bit later from the class of 1989. In our house, the class of 89 is especially revered because they were the seniors when my class were third formers. And even though I was not here in third form, there are many legends that circulate in my home on a regular basis about the class of 89. And I think when you guys think back to your seniors, when those of you who are here as freshmen, when you think about them, they will be legends to you, even when you're as old as I am. So thank you for everyone for being here. Welcome. It is homecoming. And interestingly, the word homecoming is used at schools everywhere, but it's not called a school coming. It's called a homecoming. And in the case of St. Andrews, that's really intentional because this place is your home. This place is literally your home for 2 or 3 or 4 years when you're here. But what you might not realize yet, seniors, is that it's actually your home forever. And so on homecoming, you come home. It's interesting we use this family terminology, right? Because in the early summer when alumni gather, it's a reunion. And the most common kind of a reunion, of course, is a family reunion. And I always think of St. Andrews reunions as family reunions too. So I'm welcoming the alumni who are here today home. And what does home mean for all of us? It means family. And I think what you'll learn in your lives, if you haven't already, is that there's the family you're born with, and there's the family you get to choose. And part of the family, a large part of the family that I've chosen in life has been my St. Andrews family. And I think that's true for a lot of us here. Alumni know this for sure. Students, you know this because of the bonds in your class, right? So a lot of you already think of the people who are sitting here around you as your family, your extended St. Andrews family. They're people who you have been truly yourself with, can be truly yourself with. Let's be honest, after you've had a certain number of fire alarms in your dorm at 2:30 in the morning, and you've all gone out in the middle of the night in your pajamas, I'm sorry, but then you're just family at that point. You just are. That's the definition of family. People you have stood in 25-degree weather with in your pajamas at 2:30 in the morning. And that extended family includes your teachers here and your faculty. I was just at the Association of Boarding Schools conference down in Washington for the last couple days. That's where I've been. We did an alumni event and parent event on Wednesday, and then we were at this conference, and one of the funny things that happens at boarding school conferences is all of the people in the St. Andrews faculty genealogy who actually didn't go here, but who taught here, they're all at other schools, right? And the myth and legend of St. Andrews lives on in every other school with these folks. So I saw, for example, Brad Lee, who's not a St. Andrews graduate, but he joined the faculty as a 22-year-old when Mr. Jones and I were juniors, and we thought he was the coolest faculty member ever. And we all had theories about all the cool things he must be doing on the weekends and stuff, because we never got to go anywhere or do anything fun. And now here he is head of Dublin School, and he was actually my colleague on the faculty when I was here between 1999 and 07. St. Andrews teachers are part of your life forever. Your friends here are part of your life forever. And then what you don't know about yet is that there's this extended St. Andrews family that we're all part of. And so the rest of your lives, you will move to a new city and be wearing your St. Andrews baseball cap, and someone will introduce themselves to you, and the next thing you know, they're helping you find an apartment. Or, you know, an alum called me the other day and said, I'm in Boston, and my grandmother just got airlifted to Thomas Jefferson. She had a massive stroke. Do we know anybody there? Well, yeah, there are 2 St. Andrews alumni working in the hospital, and they were at her bedside within hours. They didn't know each other. The 2 St. Andrews alumni and the one who needed help for his grandmother didn't know each other at all. But it was this unconditional showing up, this unconditional love that really defines this school, and I think separates St. Andrews from a lot of other places. And alumni, I want to assure you that the next generation of our family, they're doing just fine. This group of students, you just got to have some interactions with them. They have completely absorbed and generated and are now propounding and proliferating our family values. And what are our family values? You know, we show up when we call each other, we pick up the phone, we hold each other accountable, we love each other unconditionally, we pick up after ourselves, we find each other in our hour of need. That's what we do, that's who we are. And this group of students here are making the most of their opportunity as seniors, and every year, as you all know as alumni, seniors at St. Andrews have the opportunity to cement those family values. In some schools they're called traditions, but I prefer to think of them as family values. And they have been incredible leaders in this school. I think you can probably see how that's possible just from your conversations with them this morning. They have very high expectations for the younger students, the underperformers at the school, and they live those family values every single day. It doesn't mean we don't fail. I personally fail continually at this, but they are doing a fantastic job, and I'm really grateful to them, and I'm grateful that we have this opportunity to be together this morning. So thank you all. It warms my heart to see you all here, and we'll get on with our program.
Thank you, Ms. McGrath. Good morning, Saints. Good morning. Although I've only been here a couple of months as a part proud of this tremendous community. I can feel the spirit of St. Andrews every day when I walk the campus, and certainly as I've been going around to various parts of the country to meet alums. I've had this opportunity for the last couple of months, and it's really heartwarming. And so I thank you all for being here. I thank the class agents for showing up today for us. But I want to speak to the sixth formers for a second. Thank you very, very much for being here. You are leaders, you are cheerleaders, you are enthusiastic, and you are a wonderful part of this school. I know you're incredibly busy right now. I know you've got performances, you've got tests, you've got sports activities, you've got college applications, you've got all these things that you're working on. And so I just want to thank you very much for taking some time out on a Saturday morning to be here, to meet these class agents. I said to a couple of you earlier, they were all sixth formers before, and a couple of people looked at me like, really? Yeah, they were. They were exactly where you guys are. And so we wanted to give you a chance to understand what the class agent program is about. That it's about staying connected to this family. It's about being ambassadors for the school. It's about helping the school for support. It's about helping to get people to come back for reunions. It's about keeping that network strong and keeping you connected. So in the case of somebody who's calling when they have a family emergency, we know where you are, and we know that we can call on you and that you will help. So one of the things that is really important, one of the things that we wanted to do was to have a chance this morning for you to talk with some of the class agents. And our goal here is to have the class agents be able to go back and say to their classmates, the sixth form is an amazing class, and St. Andrews is in really good hands. And that's a really powerful message. So I thank you very much for being here and for helping us. The goal today is to celebrate the spirit, the culture, the foundations of the future of St. Andrews. We're going to hear about class connections and reflections. We have a special guest speaker who is going to talk about her wonderful class and the connection that they have maintained for a very long time. And then after that, the class agents are going to go to Gahagan Room around 11 o'clock. We're going to do some training. We're going to train you on some tools. We're going to give you some resources. We're going to have a roundtable discussion about the work that you're doing and the work that the school needs you to help us with. And at that point, which will be around 11 o'clock, the sixth form, you are free to go. If there are still donuts out there, you're also free to grab a donut on the way out the door. And we hope that we will all see you on the field this afternoon. We have a wonderful cross-country event that's happening of our football players, and our cross-country runners are no longer with us this morning because they had to go prepare for that. But it should be a wonderful day, and I thank you all for being here. Go Saints! And now it's my pleasure to introduce Allison. Sorry. I didn't tell you were up.
Yes, he is.
I'm a legend. All right, so I asked some of y'all who were sitting up there, sorry, I've forgotten your names already, if you still do this like folding thing with the paper and you sign your name for honor committee. Apparently we do for some quizzes. But this is what we used to do, so you can see that I still do it. So my classmate Ari Ellis noted, Rick Hall was the first person I met at St. Andrews. He came right up to me, introduced himself, and immediately began introducing me to my classmates. I wasn't quite sure who or what he was. Welcome committee, class president, ambassador. Turns out it was just Rick being Rick. And remarkably, he knew, even as a young teen, that connection to others is what matters most. And Rick was a lifelong, gifted, extraordinary connector of people. No surprise, Rick became our class agent. He kept track of each of us and our families. He knew our favorite flavors of ice cream. He'd call us from campus on reunion weekends because he was always the first one to arrive to say, okay, I'm here, where are you? And at our 25th reunion, we won the cup.
I don't know if you guys know about this, but it's a pretty big deal. It's like this big silver cup, and it's because you raised the most money and you had the biggest participation. And it was really, I mean, it's really kind of not about the money, it's really about the participation, and that's what Rick was amazing at. And it was because we all came together to give others the opportunity to experience St. Andrews. And we understood the magic and uniqueness of this place. And as I was talking to the kids at my table, we were talking about how St. Andrews is different from other boarding schools, and it really is special. And no one else understood how special this place is more than Rick. And then last year, and his sister is here with me, he tragically died. And when I sent out the email to let everyone know, the stories, like the one I just shared from Ari, just came pouring in. And everyone had a Rick story. And the thing that is the worst about all of this is that I wish Rick could have been there to experience that, right? To hear all those stories and to see how we came together as a class. We got together at the Van Bucham's house. I don't know if you guys, do they know the Van Bucham's? No, okay. He was a Latin teacher and she was a ceramics teacher, and their son is in our class. So we got together there and we got to know Rick's sister, and we crowdfunded some legal action that she's gonna take to make sure that those who are responsible for his death are held accountable. And then, was it last summer? We had his memorial service, and my classmate, Casey Zimmer, somehow got into the facilities. Maybe you shouldn't know this, but he showed up with a bunch of old SAS basketball jerseys, which all the guys wore, because Rick was super into basketball. He later became a referee, and it was a big passion of his. And I sang Lean on Me, and do you guys know that song? Yeah. No way! You can sing it. Okay. Can we sing it? Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. God, okay, sorry. Yeah. All right, I honestly couldn't think of a song that better captured Rick. And I gotta give a shout out to my gal, Catherine, who suggested it, because I was trying to figure out what song do I sing for Rick. And we've come together in person and virtually so many times since he passed, and that's partly because that's what Rick taught us. I just really wish he could have been there to experience all of that. And he instilled in us the importance of giving back to St. Andrews, too. And as a proud St. Andrews alum and class agent, he really did believe in participation. So we came together in the month following his death as a class, and we wanted to make Rick proud. So we signed up to be Sustaining Saints, and we gave 1989, which is our class year, each month. And others gave more money. And a few even gave for the first time in 33 years. And that's what Rick did to us. And we had 92% class participation. Like I said, we're legends. Right? But it wasn't enough to create some kind of silver lining from his passing. He was so young, and it may not seem like it to you, but really, I'm only 50, okay? I got a whole back 9 to go. So kind and so warm-hearted and generous, I could just go on and on. And we wanted to make sure that Rick's legacy lived on here at St. Andrews. So we decided we wanted to make sure that every class or every school population has a Rick. And I'm sorry that you don't get to have this. Maybe you already have someone in your class who's like him. I hope so. But this summer, we pledged to create an endowed scholarship in Rick's honor, more than just in his memory, but really in his honor. And, you know, the demographics of our class are like most. We're socioeconomically diverse. That's obviously one of the things that makes this place so special, right? It's not like we have a bunch of high rollers, although we definitely have some people who give very generously. It's not like it's all of us, right? So we knew it was going to be a stretch. And so that's what we said to our classmates. We want you to stretch. Make a pledge, do it over time, do what feels comfortable, you know, and the response was incredible. We raised over $100,000 in 10 days. Yeah. And so now we're at 180K with over 50% of the class participating. And our goal, and we will get there, is for $250,000 for a named scholarship in Rick's honor. And the tough piece is that endowed scholarships are for the long term, right? Like, when that 181 is pledged and the gifts have been received and they're part of the endowment, they're for investment. They're not for immediate use. So only 5% interest can be used for financial aid. That means, and those of you who do math will have already figured it out, but it's $87.50 for all of that money pledged. It's not a lot of money, right? So we need the Saints Fund giving, and in fact, for our class, our past Saints Fund giving, that's like hard to say, Saints Fund giving, more than covers a tuition. And some years cover tuition at full cost. That's also a lot of money. So while we're dialing down the Rick Fund fundraising soon, and of course this was my goal, because I wanted to be able to say we were over 50% when I got up here, my co-agent Vic, of Vic Van Buchem, and I will be back on email and text asking our classmates to support the Saints Fund again, above and beyond their commitment to Rick's scholarship. So as our other class agents know, it's not easy. But this is why recurring giving is so awesome, and y'all should just start it the minute you leave, because I mean, I love seeing that 1989 come out of my bank account. It's like, it makes me happy, you know? I mean, think about how many Starbucks lattes that is. Not a lot, right? So I find it easier, and I find that everyone who does it really doesn't go back, because it's just, you know, it's coming out, you see it, it makes you happy. But again, the money is not the point. I mean, it's very useful, right? But I've really enjoyed reaching out to my classmates. It's been a wonderful opportunity to talk to them about Rick and what he did for us, and also remember what a gift St. Andrews was for him and for so many of us. So when the annual fund rolls around, we're going to retell that story and remind everyone how important the annual fund is to making Rick's fund actually happen, because you can't have one without the other. And while I would much rather it be Rick up here talking to you, obviously, I'm really proud of what Vic and I have been able to do together. And I'm also really happy about how this has brought us together as a class. Like, there has to be a silver lining. And we've connected with some of our lost classmates. We've reconnected with each other. My classmate Jerome said he always thought Rick would be a very successful mayor of like a small town somewhere. But really, he was the mayor of our small town. And his infectious, friendly energy will continue to be the standard I'm holding myself to going forward. In fact, one of my favorite things about putting this fund together has been how people actually pick up my phone call. It's like, I'm driving along to my crew practice, and I'm calling my St. Andrews classmates, and they're like, hey, Allison, and we talk for like 3 minutes about money, and then it's, you know, how are you? What's been going on? And people I haven't talked to in a decade are, you know, they're telling me their story, and it's just like yesterday. And even people I weren't friends with. I mean, I wasn't friends with Rick at school. I became friends with him at reunion. So that's possible too. And it's such a gift. It's so special. And I hope that what we're doing will inspire y'all to, class agents, rally, reconnect, and enjoy each other. And for you, our sixth formers, to stay connected. I mean, Ari, I called him up, I told him I was coming to visit him at Cornell, and you know, he hosted me and we hung out, and it's just, you can do that with St. Andreans. And I think Rick would really love that.
Thank you, Allison. So, you know, I realized we didn't introduce ourselves. And we just figured everybody knows everybody, right? I'm Chelsea Profaci, class of 80, and I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement. And I've been that for a very long time. And then we heard from Mrs. Wardwell, who's our Chief Advancement Officer. And then Allison Hamilton Rowe, we didn't get her full name, obviously class of 1989. And next up is someone you know, but did you know that Mr. Robinson is also a class agent and was also on the alumni board? And most recently, Mr. Robinson, what I'll call Will, and his classmates smashed the 25th reunion record, both for dollars and participation, just like the class of 1989. They also broke the record. And they did that. And they did that again. It wasn't about the money, and it was about them all coming. It is about the money. Money is important. Money makes this place happen, right? It makes us all able to be here. But it's the spirit in which it's done. And Mr. Robinson's class, not all of them were able to come to reunion, but they all showed up for the Saints Fund and for each other. So without further ado, I will introduce here, Mr. Robinson. Will Robinson.
Well, I'll be quick. I actually have so much I want to say about St. Andrews in 2022. So class agents, please reach out to me. Please talk to me today. I'd love to just share what's happening here on campus. There's three quick things I want to say, and I'm going to invite the seniors who are either volunteered or voluntold to help me out with this. The first thing I would definitely want to say is that I just want to reiterate what we've heard so many times here, is that it really is about the people. That's all that St. Andrews is about. I talk about, I've shared recently that I would have gone to high school in a dumpster with my classmates and with my faculty members because they were just incredible human beings. And Brad Bates, who we saw, was my JV soccer coach, and when I saw him, I hadn't seen him since I graduated, and I gave him a huge hug, and he's like, oh, okay, I guess we're hugging, and because he meant so much to me. He was such an influential person in my life, even though I spent 3 months with him in the fall of my first year here. I think the second thing I definitely want to say is that we were able to break these records because I was able, this is more to the class agents, I'm here. I know what we're doing here. So like if you're wondering, I know you read the magazines, you pay attention to the website and all those things. I love that Paul posts on the Facebook alumni page anytime something happens in the newspaper, but being here allowed me to share the story of these wonderful students and what they're doing. Because it is about the money, but it's really about the investment in them. And they are the best investment you could possibly imagine. truly, because they are incredibly good, kind, giving, generous human beings. Their presence here is an anomaly. I can't think of any other school where it's like, we show up Saturday morning, yeah, I'll go meet these like weird old alumni, including Mr. Robinson. Like, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, sure, I'll do that. So I just think, I just think that investment in them is the best, truly the best investment you can make. And the third thing I want to say is that working in admissions is an incredible responsibility because we're looking for these people. We're working very, very, very hard to find the future St. Andrews. The St. Andrews who are out there in the world who don't know that St. Andrews exists yet, and they want to come here, or they'll come here and this will change their lives, right? All of us, all of the alumni here can say that, you know, this place really changed our lives. So it is an incredible responsibility that I feel. It's also an incredible privilege because I can tell you, you all might not know this, we are in the 98th percentile of schools when it comes to just saying like, I will meet anyone. I will meet anyone, I don't care where they're from. Ms. McGrath and Mrs. Wardwell, and I and Senora and Ms. Pressman, we were at this incredible conference over the last 2 days, and we met a woman who started a boarding school in Afghanistan for girls. Imagine how difficult that is to start a boarding school for girls in Afghanistan. A year or two after she had the plans and it was building, the Taliban took over Afghanistan. So it's like, what do you do? And they had to move to Rwanda. And so it's a much longer story, you should Google it, it's incredible. The school's called the SOLA, Student of Leadership Afghanistan, Students of Leadership Afghanistan. Incredible. And so after her talk, who shows up to talk to her about like, what can we do to help? It's Ms. McGrath, it's me, it's Senora, and we truly can only do that because of the generosity that started with Mr. DuPont, who built a school with all of this in mind. And then all of the decades and decades and generations of alumni who have looked back and supported it in every way that they can to invest in the current students. So I'm so grateful for the people who I didn't know who invested in me. Pretty goofy little dude from Delaware. And I'm so grateful for the people that I don't know who continue to invest in this place. So I just want to say thank you to all of the class agents. Please do come and talk to any faculty here. Talk to these incredible students, you'll find out what they're doing. There's actually too much. Even in the last week, there's actually been too much St. Andrews goodness. So without further ado, I'm just going to bring up our seniors, and I'd love for, yeah, Rosie, that's you, don't look around. Bridget Mead, and I think I suckered Isaac into this as my advisee. From Trinity, thank you. So I think we'll just start out just like briefly, like who you are, where you're from, and maybe one thing that you, or maybe two or three things. I don't want to limit you to one, just like 2 or 3 things that you do here at St. Andrews, and then I'm going to get off the stage and I'm going to bark questions at you if I have to. All right, and if class agents have questions, I hope you do too. I hope you ask questions.
Okay, so my name is Trinity Smith. I am from Rockville, Maryland. I am student body co-president for this year. I'm head of jazz band, I'm in orchestra, and I also row in this band.
Hi, my name is Rose Soriano. I'm from Seaside Heights, New Jersey. I am one of the Pell freshman RLs. I'm also co-head of Breakfast Bible Study. And I play field hockey, and I'm going to try lacrosse this year. I'm a residential leader. It's a prefect.
Hi, I'm Bridget Shett. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware, and I am a co-head of the Honor Committee. I am co-head of the Jewish Affinity Group, and I am a varsity captain for crew and for Girls Squad.
Hi there, I'm Mead Evans. I'm from Greenville, North Carolina. I am a co-head of the jazz band along with Trinity. I'm also a co-head of the Cardinal Society, which is the student-led tour program. And then I also I'm planning on playing baseball this year. I was going to swim and play football, but I ended up breaking my neck over the summer, which is really sad. But yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Isaac. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I am a residential leader on Sherwood dorm. I also work with the Cardinal Society. I'm in Knocks and Tones with Rosie, and then I play soccer and I row in the spring.
So here's the first question. I really do. If you all have any burning questions, I hope you ask them. My first question is, what should alumni know about St. Andrews today? What does St. Andrews? What do you love about St. Andrews right now that alumni should know?
I think that, so I came to St. Andrews as a new sophomore, and that was in the midst of COVID. And I think that the school, the St. Andrews that I came here to be a part of was not necessarily happening when I came due to COVID. And I think that something that's super exciting about our class, the class of 2023, is the way that we really redefined and also brought back that culture that is St. Andrews. And it's been really special to be a part of that, even though I wasn't here as a freshman. So I think that,
yeah, I completely agree. Along with Isaac, I was a new sophomore, and the St. Andrews that we had bought into definitely wasn't happening as much as we hoped it was. And this year, we've been working since the beginning of the year to make it into that community that's inclusive of everybody, that's providing a good experience for these underclassmen. And like we said, we've been having meetings and talking about how we can do this. And I think it's important for everybody to know that the St. Andrews that everybody knows and loves is rebuilding itself.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with what they both said, but I would also say that I think we're doing this for ourselves, but we're doing this and we're setting the foundation for many, many years to come. And I think we all know that and we feel that. And if we don't feel that right now, maybe if we don't feel it like in the immediate future, I think a lot of people will continue to in the future, and like generations that are coming up. So that's exciting.
Yeah, this is really just a little addition to what they've been saying, but at the beginning of the year, the senior class all gathered to talk about what our values were and what we wanted to, like Bridget said, set the foundation for what's coming up. And Ms. McGrath talked to us about what it means to be a senior at St. Andrews. And from the first day there, the whole class of 2023 has stepped up in ways that I think a lot of people weren't expecting. Or they were expecting, but to see it actually happen and flourish was just so impressive. And I think just having this be November, and there's still so many months to go, seeing the progression of this class and of this school is just super rewarding.
Yeah, just kind of echoing. It's one thing to talk about the transition of like the class, but I think a lot of the energy that like our class has been putting out, we're seeing being well received amongst the other grades as well. And so, you know, we're bringing a lot of energy to like school meetings and lunch announcements and to all the traditions and to supporting at games. But in a very real way, we're also seeing like the impact of us, our leadership in doing that. And we're seeing the freshmen get it, we're seeing the sophomores get it, we're seeing the juniors who kind of came in during this like COVID like stagnancy, and seeing them start to get it as well. It's felt really special because we're kind of getting to see our impact firsthand and in real time. So.
Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Luke Bear. I was on Will's JV soccer team. Yeah, I'm sorry, he made it to the varsity team by the time I was a freshman, that's right. But I did have the Brad Bates experience, so it was magical. question for you about this COVID mentality that you have firsthand navigated. St. Andrews, I think, in my experience, having multi-generational St. Andrews participation from my father to myself, St. Andrews has been a place of change that has changed throughout its time very much positively. What is happening now that you've taken from what you went through that is going to possibly affect, not only going back to the way that things were, but was there anything that came out of that changed at the school that you're now seeing and embracing that part of it, but also trying to honor some of the other traditions that maybe went away?
Yeah, I think I can start. That's a good question. I think one thing that has really come out of COVID that's positive, because I would say, I mean, there's been some like positive changes because of it. I think everybody's listening to each other a little more intently. What are our like emotional needs and mental needs, and I think we're doing a good job of like keeping that kind of like not necessarily at the forefront, but keeping that in mind in everything that we do. And so we've been kind of more aware of people's backgrounds or their feelings at certain moments, and being more aware of like what needs to be done to like celebrate or support this group of people at a certain time, or what needs to be done to celebrate and support this group of people at a certain amount of time. So I think because of COVID, we've kind of had greater pulse than we might have had before, and like what certain people may be feeling at different times, and kind of listening to each other's like emotional and mental states.
Yeah, I also think because of COVID, since we weren't necessarily able to talk about or be with each other all the time like we normally would in Engelhard or in chapel, coming out of COVID, it made all of the times where we were together just 10 times sweeter. And I think we talk about community a lot. We talk about what it means to be a part of a community. And I think COVID, it deprived us of something that's so special to the St. Andrews community. And once we were able to get that back, like Trinity was saying earlier, the school meetings have just been so much more energetic, and the lunch announcements and dances and everything in between.
Yeah, I think just echoing that, I think there's like deep passion and like there's urge for this community to feel like re-energized and like revitalized. And I think like whether we were part of this like as a freshman or new sophomore or new junior, like I think across the board we feel this way. And I think going back to what Trinity was saying a few minutes ago, like we're starting to see like our work being, I don't know, we're starting to see it come into fruition. I really just think that there's like a greater energy now, especially as seniors. We know how we want to spend this last year, and what we want our legacy to be, and what we want our like greater impact to be.
Yeah, say what you will about COVID, but it gave our student body kind of an idea of what we didn't want St. Andrews to look like. Because when we all came back, and I think this is the first year where everything has been as normal as we would have hoped it in it. Our community is realizing that the school is founded on the principle of everybody coming together and being in this energetic place where we can interact in sports, where we can interact in classes. And so just realizing that, that this is the most important foundation of our school, and realizing that when COVID was happening, that's not what we want St. Andrews to look like. We've been able to come together and form all these relationships among our peers, all these relationships among our friends, with how we want our community to be moving forward.
The only thing I'll add, and this is more on a positive note, what happened during COVID, I think that COVID forcing us all to, well, it gave us a lot of time, which was really nice, and it's something that has kind of dwindled over the past 2 years as we moved out of that phase. But having those large swaths of free time, as well as being forced to be outside, gave us the opportunity and kind of forced us to explore campus, like go on hikes, and I think that that's something that's kind of carried over, and as we move into our senior spring, where everyone is into college and we're not as stressed out. That's something that I think that our class really understands. And I know like I'm going to be spending more time exploring campus and less time doing homework.
Wishful thinking. I like it. So speaking of which, this is actually my question. I'm just curious, what is something that you're doing in your classes, or you've done in your classes so far this year that you're particularly jazzed up about, that you're pretty excited about, that really pushed you and made you excited about the other thing that we do here at St. Andrews, which is go to school, classes?
I'm really jazzed about my Spanish class. So it's ATT with Mr. Profe. But that class is, I love it. I love how like free flowing it is. For example, one day there's a little bit of controversy about the Tuesday announcement. And rather than, so the Tuesday announcement, I'm not sure if it was a thing when you were.
No, it's definitely not.
Okay, so on Tuesdays, Zach and I, as residential leaders on boys' junior dorms, we sell pizza, but at lunch we go up and we do an alliteration, starting with T.
That's known as the tongue twister in the rest of America, but in the St. Andrews English department, alliteration.
Yes. And so, we kind of summarize what might have been happening on campus and what is coming up. So it's kind of random, but the selling pizza part was a little bit controversial for a bit, and Profe was a bit of a critic of what we were doing. So he basically, we committed an entire class to, in Spanish, debating the morality of our business. And so, that's just that's an example. I think Zach and I proved that we are ethical businessmen. But yeah, sorry, I'll really go. But that's just a cool version of like what the free-flowing nature of St. Andrews academics, and I'm jazzed about it.
Yeah, I just want to put out there that we did pay for full-size pizzas and only got small. So that was a controversy. And then, so am I allowed to talk about like electives? Are you looking at? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'd say that I'm really jazzed about our jazz band this year. So this year we've started practicing songs that like everybody knows. If y'all watched, I'm a big fan of the movie The Blues Brothers. So we're playing a lot of songs from that soundtrack. But our band has just really been kind of getting into the swing of things together. We have a great member in each and every section, which allows us to have great solos all around the board. And I think that our last concert was the best concert that I've seen while I've been at SAS. And I think that moving forward to this year, it's going to keep getting better and better.
I am taking environmental science this year, and I've kind of struggled with STEM-related classes in the past, but actually heavily struggled, not slightly struggled. But environmental science has really reshaped the way that I've thought about taking science courses just in general, and probably how I will in the future as well. And it's really just the way that Mr. Varick has conducted the class, and the way that he's set or created the space for us to just feel super comfortable. It just feels like all of a sudden the material that I'm learning, the material that we're discussing and studying feels very tangible. And it really makes me encouraged to tap into that side in a way that I really never have in the past. And then on different note, I'm taking printmaking this year, and it's just like the best ever. I've never really taken an elective visual arts type course since I've been here, and it feels honestly better than like a free block. And I've talked to Helen about this in the past because it's like calming and it's creative and it's fun, and it makes me feel like I'm not stressed to be doing only work during a free. It feels I don't know, feels great.
Like the rest of the seniors in the class that are all reading Beloved, I know there's a lot of different opinions about the book, but my favorite part of the whole experience of reading Beloved by Toni Morrison is that it's a collective experience. That every person in this room who is a senior is reading this book, and I think it just makes the class discussions and post-class discussions, whether it's in the dining hall or during a free period, that you can really talk to anybody about this book and what's going on. I don't know, that's been really special.
Yeah, so I'm in Bridget's environmental science class. I'm taking a history that I'm taking is modern Middle East, and then obviously reading Beloved in English. And I would say in all of those, the conversations have been feeling very relevant. And we are always bringing it back or connecting it to what's happening in the real world today, or what's important today, or what we should be talking about today, or what we're looking at. And I think that's also another thing I think that's come out of COVID, because one thing we saw in COVID with classes that changed is that, like our English classes, for example, were suddenly centered around what was happening during the pandemic, with some literature that was coming out during the pandemic. And I kind of feel like that's kind of been carried over, and it's been really helpful because it makes you just as invested in the learning as teachers are in teaching it. And so in environmental science, I'm seeing a lot of what we're studying kind of connect to real world conversations about climate change and things like that today. And then in modern Middle East history, I'm kind of being able to have a real world context to things I see on the news and kind of form my own opinions about it. And then in Beloved, in reading that, I've been able to kind of form this new opinion on literature and kind of connect the themes of the book to new literature and themes that we see every day. And so it's been really fun to be able to connect all of my learning and kind of outside of class, something may come up and we'll joke about it and be like, oh, that reminds me of something, or something like that from Beloved. Or you'll say, I just learned about that in environmental science. And so I'm kind of seeing, I love seeing that happen.
All right, last one. All right, last one.
Okay, I'm that weird old alum. I'm class of 77. My name is Chuck Walton. Good to see all of you guys. First a comment and then a question to all of you seniors. My comment is the influence that you have with all the underclass people is influential. I know that when I was a student here coming in as a fourth former, the seniors were I don't know, I don't want to say gods, but they were larger than life. And the influence that they had on me and what I wanted to aspire to become was incredible. I talk about Gordon Bradley, who was, all-state soccer player.
Mrs. Brownlee's husband.
Mrs. Brownlee's husband, yeah. Other great students, great mentors, resident leaders, as you call them. I was a prefect. So the influence that you have with third and fourth and fifth formers is incredible. So my question to all of you is, what are we doing to mentor and foster great relationships with them and have them aspire to do well here at St. Andrews? I know it's a tough question, but I wanted to ask it.
Okay, I think we can open this up to everyone, so if anybody wants to answer in the seats. But I think it really does start on dorm, and for me, I've kind of been known people who've been in the room with me all 4 years kind of know that when I like compare to how I am off dorm, whenever I've come on dorm, I've kind of turned into like a hermit crab, and I love like just being in my room and kind of being antisocial, and it's kind of become a safe space for me to do that sometimes. But for some reason, this year has been like one of the first years that I've spent probably the most time in like the common room and other like freshman Pelicans dorms and talking to them and like being goofy in the hallways and things like that. And I think that's kind of where it starts, because I think the whole reason why I've kind of stepped up and been able to do that is because I'm kind of realizing the importance of being somebody who like may be like me as a freshman, but having somebody, or being a senior that person can come to or talk to or can unload whatever they need to unload, or somebody who can like motivate them. And so I think I really enjoy being able to do that this year, and it's probably one of the things I look forward to the most now. It's like coming back on dorm and being able to tuck people into bed and things like that. So.
One thing that was honestly a really big shock for me at the beginning of the year was that I was living with 14-year-old children, like just right next to me. And I love it, I really do, but it was just something where I was really confused at first. And we talked so much about the difference between being their friends and being like their mentors and what that balance looks like. And especially living on freshman dorm and living with just such young children almost. Even though I'm young, I know, but I think for all of the Pell seniors and all of the seniors who live on underclassmen dorm and who just are living on dorm and have to do duty once a week and tuck them into bed and have all of this responsibility, it looks so much different in dorm and when you're outside dorm. Trinity was talking about seeing them in the hallways and saying hi to them and acknowledging them in a way where it's not necessarily, oh, I'm better than you, but rather, oh, we go to the same school, and oh, I see you as an individual. And I think that's been a really important part of our St. Andrews career, and especially senior year, just recognizing that we were once in their position, and we know exactly what it feels like to look up to your seniors and see them in such a different light, and to be in that position now. Really cool.
I think dorm is huge, like they were saying, and I also think being able to have that like I don't know, community feel of dorm and the mentorship and the friendship and the responsibility, have all of that to be extended into the hallways, onto sports teams that have been huge for me in the past as well. Like I remember as a freshman coming in, feeling, even just like as a squash player, was only like one of 2 freshmen on the team my freshman year, and feeling like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be here. But I felt super welcomed, and that I feel like was huge for me as well. So I just like extending this feeling past dorm, past, I don't know, Engelhard for school meeting, just all aspects of life at St. Andrews. It's super helpful, I think.
What is this tucking? Lights out. It's like, oh, good night.
Oh yeah.
It depends on the person.
Oh.
If they want.
Yeah, and to take this question like more onto the general campus, like off of dorm, I would say, it's important for us to realize that what we do, the underclassmen are always going to mirror what we do as they see us as their peers. So for example, the phone rule that we have been taking into more account this year, if we are seen off of our dorm on our phones, the students are going to see that and realize that they can get away with what they're seeing. And then they're going to think, oh, if they're doing it, why aren't we allowed to do it? And I think that just goes further on into basically how we act and how we interact with each other off of our dorm. And the way that we want to shape these underclassmen into the seniors that we want them to be, we need to be those seniors.
Can you explain the phone rule?
Yes, so...
We have literal phones at the end of the Yeah.
Right, so we, as a community, we do not allow phones off of dorm unless you are going to an athletic facility And on the way to the athletics facility, you're not allowed to take it out of your pocket. And then, so the times that we can use our phones would be during free time on dorm in our dorm room. And then after lights out, you are required to have your phone in a pocket outside of your room as well as during study hall.
I think the biggest, in response to your question, I think, and it's kind of what Mead was alluding to there, like, as seniors, it's so important that we both understand and embrace our role because of how much of an impact the senior class has on the culture for the given year. I'm on junior boys dorm, so that's where I do duty, and I have the biggest presence on dorm. But I've also picked up duty night on freshman boys dorm, which has been interesting to see the difference in interacting with underclassmen. So when I'm working with juniors and when I'm on duty on Sherwood, I try to, and all seniors on that dorm, our goal is to really set a good example because that's the class that's going to be in our position next year. So the best way we can leave a legacy is by setting that example and holding each other accountable and being consistent throughout. And then in terms of freshmen, I found that just like general like kindness, being engaged, like everyone was talking about, like going in and not just saying good night and leaving, but like having a conversation, how was your day? And yeah, that extends beyond dorm, pushing underclassmen to be the best version of themselves by setting your own example, but also by encouraging them to, like, if you have a passion for a sport, commit to not being mediocre at it. Like, take it and yeah, train and like be great and don't be average, because that's something that, yeah, I think that's our role.
What about little siblings?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, look, yeah. I mean, that's been around for a while, but we all were assigned little siblings, new students. Most of them are freshmen. I actually got a sophomore and a junior, so I have two younger brothers who I meet with them every now and then, make sure that they're doing well in their first year at St. Andrews. But I think that's a great mentorship that the school sets up, but it's what you make of it that counts. Anyone else to add to the little siblings?
So anybody want to add out there? I mean, my big sister, like, is really scary. She just come up, and I respect that so much. My big sister was big and big. I remember the first day of field hockey, we played a tournament, and it was like, I would have never played field hockey before. She drove the ball, went towards me here, hit me directly in the calf. And she came over and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes." And then she was like, "Okay, so let's keep playing." And I was just fully like crying. But she was like an amazing big sister. She was a good role model. I mean, I hate public speaking, and at the beginning of this year, I emceed the open mic night that we had, and she did that my freshman year. And I don't really have any talents that I could like contribute to open mic night. That, well, true. I could like, I don't know, stand up. I could do that, maybe potentially in the future. But I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't had a role model like Josie in my life.
And I think as much as we say that we are like setting this foundation for them and for the underclassmen, like I've learned a lot via the underclassmen as well. Like I'm on junior dorm as well, like Isaac this year. K-dorm, shout out. And I don't know if I was, actually, me and my roommate Allison, who's the RO, we were not really expecting to be on junior dorm, and we were a little bit skeptical at first. But it's just been the best experience ever, and really enjoyed getting to know the grade that will become, you know, like the future of St. Andrews, future seniors. And then also my little sister this year, Quinn Hathaway, she's a freshman. I've learned a ton through her. She's been really vocal with reaching out to me and meeting and having breakfast and catching up. And I know that I was not that way as a freshman towards my big sister, but she's been incredible about that, and I've learned a lot through her communication, her vulnerability, everything else. So.
I know we could go on forever, but thank you to the panelists, thank you to all of you. I just want to say to the alumni here that, I mean, we know that every senior class gets to redefine the school, right? That's part of what goes with being a senior. You're creating that next layer, and you're changing the school. You know, we say to students when they come, I say to students on the first night of school that you're going to change this place. This group that we just heard is changing this school, and changing the school for the better. And I think you've heard from them, they're doing it at a time where we've had kind of unprecedented change in the landscape, in the country, in our world. And someone asked about kind of what has COVID changed, or how has it changed what we go about, how we go about our business. And I will say for myself that one of my practices has been to try to not take things for granted. And I would just say to the adults in the room, don't take for granted that seniors in high school in America are like what you just heard. These are extraordinary young people. I mean, and they exceed our expectations, they defy our expectations every single day. And they're creating a school that is beyond our wildest dreams, and frankly, I think as visionaries, it was beyond the wildest dreams of those who can't. And that is why I get to get up every single day and do the best job in the whole world. It's actually a super easy job. And I'm just really, really grateful to these students because I think they're redefining St. Andrews forever and for me and changing our mindset. And this school is going to be, when I'm 99 years old and I'm at your 50th reunion, we're going to look back and we're going to see what you guys did. So thank you.